Hi everyone, it's Kara here from Boho Berry, and I'm excited today. I'm bringing you something that has been much requested, and that is my video about my blog and business bullet journal. And so this is it here, and I hope you excuse the weird camera angle, but I wasn't able to use my normal setup to record the downward view for this one, mainly because this notebook is so big. So just for comparison's sake, I'm going to show you, this is my normal bullet journal. This is the A5 size Leuchtturm. I know that I'm not pronouncing that right. I don't speak German, but I try. But this is my A5 size Leuchtturm, and this is the A4. So side by side, you can really see a huge difference. The A4 is basically twice the size of an A5, so you could fit two A5s onto one page, if that helps you a little bit perspective-wise. I really wanted to go through this with you all, so I'm really excited to do it, and I hope you'll excuse the kind of wonky camera angle that we're going to have today. All right, so let's dive right in. So you can see here, this is the very inside cover. I really have not done anything to it yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I do want to put some sort of big quote or something fun there. And then the very first thing, as with all the Leuchtturms, is the 3-page index, which I have mine set up and indexed. And I'll show you through. The very first thing that I have is a blog post and video index. And this spread is basically just a place for me to index all of my notes about my future blog posts and videos. So as you'll see later, I actually keep all of my notes and outlines and bullet points for all of my blog posts and videos in this notebook. So that's the first thing in here, is a place to index that. And the reason I did that is so that I wouldn't have to worry about running out of space in my regular index. Then the index will continue on the other side here as well. I just haven't drawn it out yet. Then this is my year overview. You might recognize this from my normal everyday bullet journal. So I decorated it a little bit. Energy, that is my word of the year. So I wanted to make sure that I put that in there. And then first and foremost, I have my mission statement. And my mission statement, I actually wrote a whole blog post about how to create your own personal mission statement for 2016. So I'll link that in the show notes below, but this one is mine. To live each day with courage, compassion, and curiosity, to become a better version of myself each day, and to inspire others to do the same along the way. My main focus is to help others through my work and to create a culture of women with purpose. So I love having that mission statement front and center in my blog and business bullet journal, so I have it there. This first big spread is my stats tracker, and what I love about this versus my smaller bullet journal is just how big and how much space I have to write. So I have all the stats that I want to track for the year. I have it divided by month, and then I also have my income down here. So these are my different sources of income through my blog and business, and I love that I have space down here, so as I add additional streams of income, which I fully intend to do this year, then I can add those in and track those there as well. And I loved this quote by Stephen Few, and it says, "Numbers have an important story to tell. They rely on you to give them a clear and convincing voice." So I thought that was kind of an appropriate quote for a numbers and stats page. All right, after that, I have my writing log, and as you can see, I have these little plastic tabs. Those are spreads that I will be turning to time and time again. So I have my blog writing log here, and the shaded in ones mean that I wrote that day, and then the squares mean that I published either a post or a video that day. And then I'm also going to be writing a book this year, which I'm very excited about. I haven't started any further than brainstorming at the moment, but this is where I'm going to log my writing for my book that's going to be coming out later this year. All right, this here is my editorial calendar, and I have one of these spreads set up for each month. And you'll see it just kind of goes through. And I have those all set up at once, all in one place, all in one chunk in my bullet journal. So this is my spread for January, and what I've done is I've taken these little post-it notes and I've written down all of my ideas And at the beginning of the month, this thing was full of Post-it notes. And as the month has progressed, I've been able to remove the ones that I've completed, cross them off, and then I wrote them in there officially with pen. So the idea here, and why I always struggle to do an editorial calendar in my bullet journal, is that I change my mind a lot. Sometimes I'll sit down to write and my heart's just not in it. It's not in that topic. So I'll pick a different topic out of my ideas list and just write about that instead. So I wanted everything to be movable. So each one of these Post-its I can move around, I can swap things out. For example, on the 20th, I was actually going to do this KonMari books and paperwork post, but I wasn't quite finished with everything by that day, so I decided to go ahead and throw in my reader survey, which I was going to wait until later in the month. So it's really easy to switch things around, and then I can see what I've accomplished over here on the right hand side as well. The other thing on here is this S&B. Those are little appointments. S&B stands for Sunshine and Berries, and some of you may know this or may have caught on from our conversations on social media, but she and I meet once a week, and it's basically our own little blog mastermind group, and we have become such good friends, but we schedule that in every Friday at 1 p.m. So that's what I have those there for. And this is not highlighter. This is actually a really thin washi tape. So this is movable as well. So if our appointment gets changed around, I can just peel that washi tape off, move it somewhere else, or write a new one if it's a new time. And then just like in my personal bullet journal, I have my goals on the right hand side for the month. So you can see I've already crossed a few off. I'm in progress on this one, but I like to have this monthly overview every month. So I can look at this and I can ask myself what I posted when, I can see when my appointments are, and I can see what I have coming up, and then my goals for the month as well, so I can stay on track. After each monthly spread, I have this monthly activity log and review. So the activity log is just somewhere where I jot down a couple of things that I did that day. I kind of like that idea. I like being able to kind of just see at a glance, oh, what did I do on such and such a day? Or at the end of the month, look back here and be like, oh my gosh, look at how much I accomplished. And then anything that stands out in my mind as a big accomplishment, I'll be writing it down here as well. And then the review. At the end of each month, I'm going to answer these questions, and I have this already filled out for each of the months of the year, so that all I have to do is come in and write down my answers at the end of the month. So I have what worked, what didn't work, what I learned, popular posts, and then notable. All right, so that continues on again for each month. And then we get to my 2016 goals page. Now these are all of my big goals for the year, and what I've done after that is I've broken them down. So each quarter I'm going to write out some actionable steps that I can take to work towards those big goals. And then once those things are accomplished, I'll move them over here so that I can see what I planned and what I accomplished for each quarter of the year. So I love this spread. I love that it's divided quarterly. You'll notice that I don't have all of them filled out, and that is on purpose. The reason I decided to do it this way is to just fill out my actionable steps as I go. I'm a goal setter by nature, and sometimes I may add new goals. I may get rid of a goal that's no longer serving me, whatever it may be, but I wanted to leave these blank so as things change, I don't have to worry about changing things in my bullet journal. All right, after that, I have a big moments spread, and this is a play on my monthly memories that I have in my everyday bullet journal, but I'm going to be doing kind of an infographic / typographic layout here of all of my big moments in 2016. So the reason it's so bare is I want this to last the whole year. I want this to be a view of all of 2016. And then this is my Sunshine and Berries spread. Like I said, Kim and I get together once a week. We talk about things, we plan, we strategize, we share stories, we share successes, we share challenges, and this is just my place to note where I have written down my notes. I always write down notes after each one of our meetings, so this is just my little mini recap of all of our meetings all in one place. All right, so this is where my blog post and video outlines come in. And what I do is I basically just write down the title, and then I outline what I want to talk about either in the blog post or the video. So you can see I have all my outlines here for a few of my older blog posts. I also write down the slug, which is basically the web address that it's going to be posted at. You know how I say that my daily pages in my bullet journal are the heart and soul of my bullet journal? Well, these outlines are the heart and soul of my blog and business bullet journal. So this is where I'm going to be writing down all of my ideas and all of my notes for all of my blog posts and videos. So this is going to take up the vast majority of my blog and business bullet journal. After that, which those are going to be mixed in just as my dailies are mixed in, by the way. So you'll see that I kind of skipped around, and that's just how it's going to work. I'll have collections, and then I'll have my blog post and video outlines in between. I also decided to start a time log, and it worked pretty well for me. I wanted to see where all of my time was going during the day, how many hours I worked, and who I was doing the work for. So I created this time log. Now this is super, super detailed, and I decided that I didn't need quite such a detailed time log. So I'll show you what I did about that here in a few pages. But you can see this is more of my outlines, my plans. This is where I adjusted the time log. And what I've done instead is created a for line. So whatever I'm doing the work for, I have MC, I have blog, I have my business, and I have Etsy. And then for each of those categories, I'm going to put how much time I worked that day and a description, short description of what I did. So I'm hoping that this will condense it. I'll probably be able to fit more along the lines of 10 to 15 days per page. And I think for February, I'm just going to go ahead and make it a 2-page spread and hope that I can fit the whole month on one 2-page spread. After that, I have my social shares, which I'll try to turn this way for you. There we go. And my social shares, this is all of my posts and videos, and I want to keep track of how many times I share them on each of my social media accounts. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And let's see. This is more of my outlines. This is the outline I did for my reader survey that I did last week. And then I've got this new spread that I'm working on that's called Featured On. And I've seen this on a lot of bigger blogs where they'll say, oh, it's featured on BuzzFeed and Lifehacker and Mind Body Green and all those things. So I want to kind of create a Featured On spread. So anytime I'm mentioned on a big website or I've done an interview or things along those lines, then I'll add that here, which could be a really fun little thing. So that is pretty much it for my blog and business bullet journal. And I know what you're thinking. I know you're thinking, Kara, what about lists of blog post ideas, lists of video ideas? What about planning for your Etsy shop? And I do have a solution for that. However, it's not in this journal, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But what I love about this is that it's basically just going to be a record of the entire year of 2016. So I'm going to close this up, and I'm going to show you one more thing before we go today. This is something I've been wanting to show off for a really, really long time. I've kind of teased a few pictures on Facebook and Instagram about this notebook cover, but I absolutely love it. This was made for me by Amanda from Gray Theory Shop on Etsy. This girl is amazing. I picked out my fabric, I had it shipped to her, and then she created this awesome cover for my notebooks, and I'm about to give you a peek inside. So when I open her up, this is what you see first. On the inside cover, this yellow notebook was originally going to be my blog and business bullet journal for the year. However, I have repurposed it. A lot of you probably know I took on a position as the operations manager for Lisa over at Marketing Creativity. And so this is where I'm now keeping all of my notes, all of my research, etc., relevant to her business. So I won't be giving you a peek inside this one, but I'll let you know that's what it is. So I keep this one here in the front, and then in the back I have my regular everyday bullet journal, which I'll be doing another flip through on this very, very soon because it's starting to fill up fast, and I know you guys can't wait to see it. And then in the middle here, or this notebook cover, I should say, has all of these elastic bands, and it's kind of like a, you know, those Midori Travelers notebooks. It's kind of like that. It has 4 elastic bands so you can hook in your notebooks. And here I'm just using moleskin cahiers. I don't know how to say that word, but I use these for all of my ideas related to my business. So remember how I said I didn't have any ideas lists in my blog and business bullet journal? That's because they are all here. So I have a list for YouTube ideas, I have a list for Etsy shop ideas, and then I have a notebook for all of my blog post ideas. So I keep these all with me. I keep them handy all the time. But this cover is amazing. It holds 2 A5 Leuchtturms plus 3 inserts comfortably. Now, you could put a 4th insert in here. It does have 4 bands on the inside, but I found when I do that, I can't get the snaps to close. So just a heads up there that it has these zipper pouches on the front where you can store pens, little rulers, whatever you want to keep handy, which I normally don't keep much in here just because I keep all of those supplies on my desk. But if you were to carry this around with you in the real world, it would be really cool to have a few different pens, stuff like that with you. That is all I have for you guys today. I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and I will again link to everything I've mentioned here in the show notes below. I'm sorry for rushing through this one. I wanted to keep this video a little shorter than usual, but as usual, I will have a companion blog post to go along with this. If you want to click through to that in the links below, and I will do a much better job of describing the how and why behind each of the sections in my blog and business bullet journal, and I'll be giving you a nice little close-up of this notebook cover in there as well. So until next time, bye.